Marriage Clinic TV.
Hi viewers, welcome to another edition of Marriage Clinic Live. How are you today? I remain your host, Marlai Hano. Thank you so much for joining me today on this edition of Marriage Clinic Live, and I would like to say happy weekend to each and every one of us. Thank you to all our followers, to all our new subscribers, new members on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook group page. Thank you to each and every one of you. I do celebrate you all. Thank you. We do hope that you will find this place inspiring, educative, and you will find it as a learning experience that can help to build you up, that can help to build you, in every aspect or facet of your life, and not only in marriage or in relationship, but in other areas. You will find yourself learning new things, for your life. One mistake people make is to think that learning stop when they finish with school curriculum or their school degree. No, you need to learn for your life. You need to learn for your growth and development. You need to learn for your advancement. You need to learn for that greater future, for that dream that you want to actualize. You need to acquire knowledge and even have the wisdom, the ability to be able to apply them. So this is very important, as these are the things that will make for your greatness in life. So today I would like us to look at an interesting topic which I have titled Emotions Under Control Couple. Emotions under control couple. Now, one of the areas that couples do struggle in marriage is their ability to keep their emotions under control. You would realize that quite a number of people in marriage go through this. Virtually everyone in marriage, your ability to keep your emotions under control. Marriage is not a place where you can express your feeling to the extreme. Even in life generally, even if you are not married, you do not want to express extreme emotions, extreme feelings, because when you are the type that is to the extreme when it comes to expressing your emotion, I tell you, you are going to scare people away from you. You are going to chase a lot of people away from you. People will be scared to come close to you. Why? Because they know that you cannot keep your emotions under control, that whatever feelings you have, you cannot check yourself. You cannot keep your control, your emotions under control, and that you perpetually live in your emotions. Now, when people see that you are that kind of a person, I tell you, they will withdraw from you. They will likely separate themselves from you, because they know that you will be unable to hold anything together. So for example, if you are the type that get angry, anger is an emotion, and your anger is to the extreme, to the point that it may even graduate into rage at times. And when that happens, you don't care who the person is. You don't care if they are elderly people, if they are a spouse, if they are loved ones. You do not care. You just say anything to them, or you even eat them. You eat things on them. If you are that type, I tell you, you will not be able to hold a marriage together. You will not be able to hold anything together successfully, including a job. Because if you are the type that cannot keep your anger under control, I tell you, it's only a matter of time that job will be taken away from you. Why? Because of the outburst of your anger, the outburst of your rage, your inability to put your anger emotions under control in public or in the workspace, would even take your job away from you. And that also happens with marriage when we are not able to put our emotions under control. So today we'll be focusing mainly on marriage and how we need to control our emotions, because in marriage, because it's a relationship between two people, and these two people are two different people coming from different background. You guys never grew up together, you are just coming together, to form your own family unit, and you'll be learning new things, discovering new things about this person. And I tell you, you'll be experiencing, different emotions at different times. Why? Because of the occurrences, the activities in the marriage, the things, that are happening. You'll be experiencing different emotions. And it is very important for you to be able to recognize it, that, oh, this is the state of emotion I am in right now, and I must put it under control. I must put it under control. My emotion must be put under control. I mean, God put emotions there. However, He expects that we should be able to control our emotions. He didn't put it there so that we use it to the extreme. God expects balance from us in everything we do, in whatever He puts there, for us humans to enjoy, even in marriage, even the sex that He puts there. He expects that there is balance to everything, because too much of everything is bad, and it's the extreme to everything is equally bad. It will hurt you at some point. It will start working against you, and you might find yourself in a place where you never prayed for, where you least expected. It could bring shame, it could bring dishonor, it could bring losses to you when you are unable to control your emotions. So between husband and wife, there will be situations, there will be times, there will be circumstances, there will be incidences, whereby the other person is like, this person is stepping on my nerves so badly that I feel like I should punch him or her, or I feel like I should do something to hurt them. Wait a minute. While those thoughts and those emotions are welling through your mind, you need to take a step back. You need to pause and tell yourself, these are your emotions, roaring. These are your emotions speaking. These are your emotions, trying to express itself fully and drive you to extremism, but that you are not going to allow it, that you are going to put your emotions under control, and that anger will not drive you into madness, or that anger will not drive you into prison, or into jail, or into wherever you wouldn't want to yourself to be. And I always tell people something: when it comes to emotions, when it comes to putting your emotions under control, you need to think in terms of consequences. You need to think in terms of consequences. Your ability to think of your actions in terms of consequences will save you a lot. As a matter of fact, that is wisdom, to be able to think in terms of consequence. When that emotions of anger happens because of what your spouse has done to you, you take a step back and ask yourself, what is the repercussion? What is the consequence if I express my anger fully? If you express your anger fully, you may say things that you will regret, for a long time, or maybe even for the rest of your life. And that is why I'm really surprised at times when some people are reporting their spouse to me, and they will tell me, oh, I abused his mother, I abused her mother, I abused her father, because he abused me, I abused his mother, his grandmother. And in my mind, I'm like, he's the one that offended you. What concerns his mother to the point that you are abusing his mother, cursing his mother, sending curses to his grandmother? At that point, I know that your emotion is on the rampage, and that you are the type that cannot control your emotions or control your tongue, when you are angry. And that is why in marriage is not a place where you can, express your emotion fully, especially when it is the negative emotion. You need to think of the consequences or the repercussion of doing that, and it's not only in terms of anger, it could also be in terms of jealousy. You are the type that you are over jealous, or you are too jealous about your spouse. So for example, maybe you see them talking to an opposite sex, you are already welling up with the emotions of jealousy in your mind, or maybe you are the over possessive type, or you are just jealous about everything that has to do with them or with whatever new experiences they are having. Now, if you are the type, you need to tell yourself that, hey, this jealousy emotion that I'm always experiencing, that I'm always exhibiting, can destroy the foundation of your marriage. It can scare even a good spouse away from you when they see that you are the type that you are over possessive, when they see that you are the type that you are always jealous. So it can repel your spouse away from you, and that is why we must learn to put all of these things under control and not live in your emotions, and not allow your emotions to drive you into ruin or into destruction, or even drive you into a state of castration whereby you will no longer have the freedom or liberty to move around, where you'll be incarcerated. Why? Because you cannot put your emotions under control. Now, there are some people that have gone to into imprisonment just because they couldn't put their emotions under control in their marriage. And we have so many cases around the world, and if you think back, you will remember persons that have harmed their spouse. Maybe they stabbed them, they beat them to death, they burnt them with fire and fuel and petrol, just because they couldn't keep their anger under control. And today those people are either dead. Why? Because the penalty that was given to them was a death sentence, or they are now serving jail sentences somewhere, or they are in prison, or they are in prison or incarcerated. Now, you don't want all of this to happen to you. And those ones that are not even serving any jail time, or that are not finding themselves where they wouldn't want to be, some of them are living today in shame, in regret, in dishonor. They are living in isolation. Why? Maybe because that spouse has run away from them. That spouse has packed his or her things and have run away from them. I used to know a man that married a lady that is very hot-tempered. Now, she's very hot-tempered to a point that when issues aggravate between them, or when they have a misunderstanding, and because she couldn't control her anger, she will go for a knife at the middle of the night, and she will raise it up and will say, I'm going to stab you to death on this bed. She almost stabbed the guy to death one night, and that was the night the guy flee from his life, and he never went back to that house, even though he pays the rent of that. He left without taking a pin from the house, and before we knew it, both of them when they are separate, with the marriage collapse. Since then, we didn't hear of her again. We don't even know if she's still alive, or she's dead, or she's married, or she's not. This is what your inability to put your emotions under control can do to you. Now, negative emotions, it could even be something like malice. You are angry with your spouse, and you make up your mind that I'm not going to talk to him or her. I'm going to make sure I don't talk to him or her. It's beginning to affect the running of the home. It's beginning to affect maybe the ability of things to go through or to work out. Why? Because both of you have chosen not to communicate with each other. So things are grounded. Nothing seems to be moving forward. Why? Because two people are at loggerhead, and you just make up your mind, this malice, I'm going to prolong it. I will make sure I don't talk to him. Now, the truth is that while both of you are doing that, a lot of damages are taking place, both in the heart and mind of your children. Even in your own life, you are stopping your destiny with that malice without you knowing, because nothing seems to move when you are dwelling in negative emotion. Even your own life is put on a pause, is put on a hold. Why? Because at that moment you cannot think straight. your heart is not pure, your mind is belabored, your mind is burdened, your mind is not free towards another. You are like in a cage yourself. You yourself, you cannot make progress. And that is why sometimes just to let peace reign, not because I'm wrong or is right, I tell myself that this is my home. I am a child of Almighty God. I will not do anything that will be displeasing to God, or that will rob my children of their peace, or that will rob me of my peace, or even my husband of his peace. And because I love my husband, I love my children, I love God, I will let that peace reign. I will let things slide at times and just do like, okay, nothing really happened, so long is not something that is a deal breaker. I'll just overlook it and I'll be like, okay, when the time is right, we'll talk about this and we'll make amend. And one of the good things you can have, or one of the good gifts you can have from God, is to have a spouse that self-correct himself or self-correct herself when you make your grievances known to them. So God has blessed me with that gift, that I have a man that he self-correct himself a lot. Once I say, baby, no, this one, that one, you did, I don't think the way you went about it was right. When you did this, I felt, once you say all of that, by himself, he will correct himself, and the same thing with me. Once he says, oh, baby, this, that, by myself, I correct myself, I make amendment, and that will make, the journey easier, the journey smoother. When you are an adult that can self-correct yourself, you can make adjustments by yourself, you are flexible, you can reflect by yourself to say, hey, this thing I'm doing, truly, I don't think is right, I don't think is healthy, I don't think is good, not only for me, for my children and all of that. Then you correct yourself, you make that adjustment. It helps your journey in life to be faster, other than you don't want to grow, you don't want to take correction, you are so stubborn, your spouse is complaining about a certain thing, you are like, well, I don't care, let him go to hell, let her go to hell. No, if you have those kind of attitude, I tell you, you are equally putting your own life on hold. You are equally putting a barricade on your own path or on your own way to progress when you are like that. And that is why you must allow yourself to be open to correction in marriage. Allow yourself to be open to correction, so long is not criticism. You don't have to keep you don't have to criticize or keep criticizing. Just let them know, oh, hey, babe, sweetheart, this is what you are doing, this is what I don't like. Once you let them know, then a sensible adult will start to make amendment, will start to make adjustment, to make peace to reign in the home. This is very important. But when you don't cherish your peace, when you don't value your peace, and you're like, well, I'm going to show him, when two elephants fight, they say it's the grass that suffers. In marriage, when two elephants fight, a lot of things suffers. Not only the grass, the children suffers, the home suffers, even the finances suffers, the plans, the family plans, a lot of great things that you both want to achieve together is put on hold, is put on a pause. Why? Because two people have decided, to take to the street and go mad. That's the way I'll put it. And, you don't have to be like that. One person would have to step down for the other. So adults, especially people in marriage, should learn to put their emotions under control. And there are different types of emotions sometimes as well. The emotions of wanting to have sex, or the feeling of, oh, I want to have sex at all costs. Even though you are a married man, even though you are in marriage, sometimes you must learn to put these things under control as well. Let me cite an example. So you cannot say because you are married then you can get sex at any time you want it. At times you may need to discipline yourself. So in a situation whereby maybe your wife, just gave birth, or she's pregnant, and the pregnancy is such a sensitive one that you having sex with her could cause her some complications or some harm, or maybe she just gave birth and she's not in that state, for sexual intimacy, and you're like, well, I feel like having sex. Well, if she, and you want to force your way, or you want her to have sex at all costs. Why? Because you are unable to put that emotion under control. When that happens, you are going to spoil things. You are going to spoil things. You are going to bring about complications. You are going to bring about pain on another person, and you don't want to be the source of someone else's pain. You don't want to be the source of someone else's heartache. You are going to spoil things, especially for those people that say, oh, because the way I'm feeling, I can't hold myself. Then you go out there sleeping with anything in skirt or sleeping around. This same thing applies to women as well, because maybe your husband is not feeling well or is sick. Because of that, my body is doing somehow, I can't keep my body under control. Then you go to town sleeping around her. You are complicating your life. You are going to spoil things. You are a lot of damages is taking place in your life, on your path, on your journey, in your destiny, without you knowing, because it's not just anybody that you can sleep with. You are corrupting yourself, corrupting your soul, corrupting your body. You are just going to regret that action. And that is why it is important to to have a balance in whatever it is we are doing. There has to be a balance. There are times as married people we feel like it, but because the situation at hand will not warrant it, we prioritize. Not because sex is not important, but because we know that we are still going to come together. We are still both in this house. This one is a priority for now. Let's go get that done. Then when we get that done, let's come back. But there are times that no matter what, we prioritize intimacy. That must happen before any other thing. But there are some days that even though you feel like it, you put yourself under control. You prioritize that thing that that this one is urgent, this one is important, and we go get that done first. Then when we come back from getting that done, then we can be like, okay, the time is right. So you move with the time. You don't want to force things to the point that you start spoiling things, you start hurting the other person, you start you start to be a nuisance to them. You don't want to be like that. So think about it. Think about the emotions you are struggling with in your own marriage. You could ask your spouse, what do you think? What emotion do you think you don't like about me? Some, it may not be anger. Some, it could be lies. Some, it could be, curses, vulgar languages. Maybe when something is not going the way you expect, the things you say, the curses that comes out of your mouth, the things you do, the way you behave. For some people it's attitude, for some it's fear, uncontrollable fear. You fear that you may lose your husband, you fear that you may lose your wife to maybe another person. You need to put all of this under control. When you are experiencing fear, you are experiencing anxiety, you are experiencing, maybe you are unsure about what tomorrow holds. I would advise that when those kind of emotion comes, you can turn to God. You can take solace in God. You can talk to God about it, and before you know it, He will put your mind at rest. He will allay your fears. He will do something in your life, or He will do something for you that will make those fears go away. And we must learn to trust. We must learn to love. For some, their own emotion is inability to love. You don't even know how to love your wife. You don't know how to love your husband. You cannot love. For some, it's act of disrespect. You are just disrespectful to your spouse, disrespectful to your children. You don't respect them. You don't respect their sweat. You don't respect their labor. You don't respect their person. When you are like that, I tell you, you are going to spoil a lot of things. So think about it. Ask your spouse, what emotion is it you don't like in me? What emotion do I express, that put you off? They will tell you if you don't know. And when they tell you, please make amendment, make adjustments. Why? Because your inability to control your emotion or put it under control, can be destructive, and it can lead to something that you will regret for the rest of your life, and it could lead to finding yourself in a place that you don't want to be, finding yourself in a situation in life that you wouldn't want to be. And that is why you must learn to put your emotions under control. At times you may have to be silent. Just be silent. Not because you are a dummy, not because you are foolish, not because you don't know what to do, but it's because silence at times is a lot better. It will save you a lot of to keep quiet. So they don't know your mind, they don't know what you're thinking, when you are quiet. Even in marriage, at times you may just want to keep quiet, but it doesn't mean you are keeping malice. Make sure it's not malice. Why you are quiet is because you don't want to say things that will damage a heart, that will harm or that will hurt. But it doesn't mean you guys should not talk to each other. Maybe when the time is right, then you let your spouse know how you feel. You must understand your spouse's emotion as well. You must understand when you are stepping on their nerve. Let's try as much as possible not to overdo things in marriage. It is very important. Don't do things to the extreme, and don't take your spouse for granted, because you may never can tell where it would lead you. And don't forget that we need to think in terms of consequences, as this will help to save you from a lot of problem, a lot of trouble, a lot of unforeseen situation in our future. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I've been able to impart some knowledge. Please do share this video with your spouse, with your children as well, with your loved ones. If you think you have learned something, let's share this knowledge. Let someone learn from it and let it help their lives and their marriage. I remain your host, Morla Hano. Until we meet again, I say bye bye.